Do you have Google? Yeah, recording in progress.
Yeah, it works. So
Yeah,
this is on the cloud. So then I can just connect, give you the access, I suppose.
yeah.
And then you
Oh,
can
you see, fantastic. So it's about resilience
yes.
after all. Thank you so much. It's Monday, like, and sometimes you know that maybe afternoon Monday and PC they don't work anymore because in Norway they work until 16 p.m. and now they say it's enough. Yeah, but anyway.
You are in Norway or based
Yes,
now?
I'm in Norway now, but I'm still on New York time. I came from New York just like maybe 3 days ago. But going there and adjusting, it's very easy. But going backwards, it's
I know, always.
hopeless. Yeah, so I've been staying like up now the whole night, and it's also exactly 3 years since the war broke out in my country in Ukraine.
Yeah.
So it was many things which has happened during the whole night. So I basically I couldn't fall asleep. I tried, but no. Maybe just 2 hours in the morning then, but that's still not, it's just in time. So now I'm in Norway, yes, and
Yeah.
from 5th until 10th I'm in Paris Fashion Week, and I'm like you because I have discovered that you are so diverse, right? So you're also in diversity fashion. Yes, I saw it
Yeah.
about another tomorrow. Yes.
Yes, correct.
Anyway, let's start the podcast. I will trim this part where now we were just
Yeah,
talking,
yeah, yeah.
and if we say like we start from now, then I start presenting you, and it's joyful conversation. Like it's already it's not live, so we can have fun.
Yes.
Okay, then we start, right? Well,
Yeah.
welcome to another episode of Diversity is the Game Changer. And really, today we have already experienced diversity of our digital world. And the most important to have resilience and to understand that we are not here to give up. And me and my beautiful guest today, he actually helped me, and he's recording now, even not me. So you see, the collaboration and the spirit of unity can help a lot of things. So in my episode, I'm so excited to welcome Luca. How should I pronounce correctly? It's Luca or Luca?
Luca.
Luca. Okay. Luca Zerbini. Is it correct? Zerbini? Yeah. Amazing. Italian. Oh, I like everything what sounds in Italian already. It can be whatever. It's already, I believe, it's so beautiful. It's like the melody for my ear. So please welcome. And he's an incredible guest who has dedicated his career to stealing sustainable innovation and driving impactful investment. Luca is founding partner and CEO of Terra Venture Capital Fund, dedicated to tackling climate change and restoring biodiversity through circular economy solutions. You can always correct me if I'm not right. Lucas' expertise in shaping strategic roadmaps, driving global growth, and fostering competitive advantage has earned him a reputation as a leader who challenges the status quo. His influence extends beyond businesses as he works to influence the United Nations Sustainable Development Agenda, taking on non-executive director roles and engaging in many diverse transformative discussions at prestigious platforms like I have already mentioned, United Nations, World Economic Forum, etc. So look, it's a great pleasure to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. And it's already became the tradition of my baby. Does that everything starts actually from being a baby, being a child, once in our life, and even our greatest achievements, accomplishments today, they are connected to this small guy who was, I'm sure, was dreaming big, whose name is Luca. So if you could please welcome our audience and me into the world of little Luca, his dreams, his imagination, aspirations, and his mindset actually, because now you are international, you are so global. But how was this guy Can you please tell us this story? Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I'm happy to share. Look, I was born in a very relatively small village in Italy, but part of a region that is quite open to the world. And I was lucky that my parents always taught that it was important for us not only to learn through books and schools, but also by visiting the world. And so they always took us to very international trips, to the US, to Africa, to Asia, etc. And I think that gave us I say us, meaning me and my brother, gave us the opportunity to really know different cultures, be open to everything that we would find on the way, and also learn from them. So I always been very interested in learning. I think I was always very interested in reading books, etc., but also in exploring the world. And on top of that, because I was from a small village, we were very much in touch with nature. So I've always been in love with the environment, with animals, with plants, etc. I remember asking, my father to have a membership of the WWF or National Geographic very early on, and I was displaying them in my room, very proud of being part of people who can contribute to the world. So I think that is a bit my recollection, my memories is always been very open to the world in all sorts of ways, by visiting, by learning, by getting to know people that were from very different places and very different backgrounds.
Thank you so much. It's very interesting story, and I'm so happy to realize that you have had the whole way unwavering support of your family, as I understood, right? And they supported your interest being open to the world, because many small communities, villages where I brought up, and I have already talked with other people, it can be actually very polar experience, that they want to be really they from the one point they want to preserve their culture and all the traditions, and I understand heritage, but sometimes it can go really they want to keep their kids close, and like everything outside is dangerous. So I'm so happy that your family
it was a real exception, because I remember a lot of my friends instead were exactly the way you were describing. They liked to be in their little nest. They didn't want to go outside. They thought that was the center of the world, or that it was the only that mattered. And at the time, people were not even really learning other languages, not even English, right? So it was very local in the sense. So I think we were, lucky in the way that I believe we were brought up very, very open to the rest of the world.
Yes, I'm sure you've been very fortunate with your parents, but of course, it without your interest, without your engagement, so not sometimes, it should be really like the meeting point between your interest and unwavering, and you have fantastic English language. Yes, and for us foreigners, me and you, it's not our native language. They say it's actually much easier for you and me to understand each other than even me to understand like Americans or British people.
Yes.
So, and now I understand it's great to find out that it has been already seeds of your interest in biodiversity, right? In nature, in interest in diverse culture already from the very young age, and you trusted your calling, and you proceed your career and life and dedication further, right? So, and if you go together with us further in your life, how actually it was, of course, not, I hope, very smooth, but we always know that people who has achieved a lot of in this life, it we believe, or no, people believe that they came and they are born rock stars and everything is just like falling down, but it's not like that. We know it's not the case, right? So could you please tell us then from a young age, and then your career, and actually slowly to what you are doing now in Una Terra, but it's not like okay now I'm jumping just to that and almost finished, but like
Yeah.
you know what I mean, because I already see this uh, logic, but I want of course to know your story because the storytelling
Yes.
is most important, right? Thank you.
No, absolutely. So look, I think because I was so interested, again, thanks to my family and my upbringing, into living abroad. As soon as I graduated from engineering university, I went to France actually, where
Mm-hmm.
I was working with Hewlett Packard, so a very international corporation. I had a lot of time spent also in California and back, and I really thought it was important to learn technology and business to be able to solve some of the problems that we had in front of us. And so I think from the beginning, I was always very interested in innovation, in growth, but always with a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
My purpose has always been related to the environment, but I think at the beginning of the career, I really tried to again, learn as much as possible now to use business for the right reason. So I went to Hewlett Packard first. Then I said, look, am I sure that this is the industry I want to work for the rest of my life? I'm not. So I went to Bain and Company, consulting, management consulting,
Mm-hmm.
but I could explore very different industries. So I work in automotive, I work in consumer goods as a consultant.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they also sponsored me to my MBA in the US at Wharton. So I spent 2 years in Philadelphia where I could expand even more, my knowledge. I really am a big lover of learning, and I think you can continue learning every day of your life forever. But coming back to that, I went back to Bain, and then I moved to the New York office to even spend time in the US and keep learning. And to your point, even the transition to New York was not easy, right? Very big, city compared to what I was used to. Definitely, amazing once you learn how to live in it, but I think it took time. And then what happened was that I work in a private equity group where one of the clients that I was working with for an acquisition asked me to actually jump on board and become the CEO of a company that they acquired. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I did. He was, down in Florida, spent 3 years turning around the company and, making sure that he was on the right track. He was sold, and then, I decided to again to go back to large corporation. And from that moment on, even more than before, I wanted to do work that was really clearly affecting in a positive way the environment. So I went to Honeywell, working for emission reductions for cars and trucks, so mobility. And that was an incredible experience because not only was aligned with my purpose, but my father at the beginning of his life he was a race car driver. Very
Oh.
long story, but as a result, working with automotive for me was going back to circle also to that one, and the company expanded very quickly to become global and very successful because it was providing solution to reduce emissions. So I
Mm-hmm.
realized very quickly how if there are the right regulation, if there is the right market environment, you can actually create a lot of value with sustainability. So there is no trade-off between the two, between business and sustainability. So after 4 years there, where I was leading the marketing agenda, I was actually asked to by a headhunter to join another company with a very similar issue, but in packaging. So I went to Amcor, which now
Mm-hmm.
is the largest company in the world for packaging. They are 22 billion, I think, right now. And the company is also there. There was the big issue of plastic in the ocean, but it
Mm-hmm.
was not as evident as it is now. At the beginning, it was just part of the conversation. So we set up an agenda. I was the head of strategy, then became the head of marketing, R&D, and sustainability to really work on how do we find solution to plastic pollution in the
Mm-hmm.
ocean and everywhere. And we created a very strong, agenda for the company. We were part of the Ellen MacArthur Foundation New Plastic Economy. We really drove the change in the entire industry with commitment from all the large players like Nestle, PepsiCo, Mars, to make sure that they would create more recyclable plastic, more recyclable solutions, not necessarily plastics, and reusable ones and biodegradable, etc. So that work showed me that in another industry you could actually do the same thing. It was a much less regulated one, but then the regulation started to enter and helped as well, while the market, of course, was doing its own part. And then I did something similar in other areas in energy efficiency for buildings and LED lighting in board position. But I realized at some point that if I wanted to do more, I could do it only by also investing and creating an organization that was entirely dedicated to sustainability. So that's why we decided with a friend and a colleague to start this adventure with Una Terra, which is really the fund, as you were saying, where I put now all my energy and resources to ensure that we can have, or we can leave a better future to our next generations.
Wow, for an amazing diversified path. And you have already mentioned, like for me, it's already what person would have managed for 14 lives at least. And you look so young, so I have no idea how actually you could suppress all this, but the results are today just amazing. And I see you're fresh and young, it's just the beginning. And I'm blessed that we have people like you with so clear vision of what we have to deal with, and it's really global challenges, right? And it's emergency challenges. We have some people who really don't understand, some don't make the responsible or conscious choice to involve themselves, but we need, of course, really people who measure every single day, like you, can leverage all talents, expertise, and knowledge for that. And like I understood already, very diversified, multicultural experience you have, and language, and that's leading to my next question, right? So you already mentioned, or you have presented by your career and engagement, that diversity is the greatest part, of course, of sustainability. And we know, like, sustainability, it's still many people, they address environmental, ecological impact, but it's three fundamental pillars, right? It's economical, environmental, and social, right? And social, it's like all people, planet, profit. And at the end of the day, everything still leads to us, the people, how we actually make our everyday responsible choices, right? And that's why we need all together, united, to make the impact. And that way I'm in, and this is the part of my research PhD, it's about diversity and, of course, inclusion. Because without inclusion, diversity, it's a mess. It can be challenging, right? So that's why I would like to ask your reflection about the importance and role of diversity, and then you're free to talk, because diversity also, people mainstream believe gender and culture, right? But it's much more diversity. Actually, it can be socioeconomical, gender diversity, age diversity, neurodiversity, which we'll be talking a little bit more. But the whole your career and path, and maybe not just working career, what was your approach to actually diversity and inclusion, and especially now, what is happening in the US, backlash on DEI, right? And it was actually my subject. I conducted interview now on Valentine's Day on New York Stock Exchange, and it's exactly now, like, we have prepared this interview before all that started. So like, oh, okay, now I believe that's why now it's even more important to talk about that, right? So what is your opinion, like, through their life, and especially now, last month, actually?
Look, I think for me sometimes it's almost difficult to talk about these things because I've never seen any difference, right? So for me, it's always been like, diversity is part of who we are. We're all different in many ways. It can be, gender, it can be culture, it can be sex, it can be anything, right? So, but I always been told, by my family and by my teachers, etc., to consider everybody equal and the same, right? Because I've always behaved like that in my entire career and my life, people, naturally are drawn to people that are behaving like this when they have, some. So in my case, for instance, now at Una Terra, first of all, the team is very diverse. We have people from Lithuania, from Brazil, and we're only working mostly in Europe now, so it's very, very diverse. We have people from India and from the US. At the same time, in terms of the way we structure the team and the board, is absolutely balanced in terms of, first of all, in terms of gender. So our board is actually majority female, our team is 50-50, and even all the committees that we have created, like our impact committee, or even we have a Gen Z committee that is representing the younger generation into our fund. Is also very balanced, right? So in terms of gender, in terms of age, in terms of culture, we've tried to make sure, and I was helped by an headhunter and by experienced people, but to make sure that it's well balanced. But on top of that, that of course, first of all, it creates a much more performing team. In my perspective, you can actually have better view because you're going to look at the same subject from the very different eyes, and you can find better solutions than if you have always the same type of people. But the second part is that we started investing, and all of a sudden we realized how many women, for instance, are doing a lot more than in other spaces in sustainability, both environmental and social. So what has happened almost naturally is that because we were open to this kind of idea, we started investing a lot more than the average. I don't know if you know, but venture capital globally invests only 3% in women. We invest more than 50% in women. So we have more than 50% of our portfolio of companies is actually the founder and CEO is a woman. And I think it's quite unusual if you look at the market, but it's quite normal for us because of the way we are. We've been always open to everybody. So we were so surprised by this that we decided to write a book. And so we wrote a book that is called Standing Up for the Planets, in which we took the voice of 45 women, each of them writing a chapter and saying why they've decided to leave their career, to put all their resources and their life into something like this, into social and environmental responsibility. And it's very interesting to see, all these very different voices that are collectively are all in the same direction of how can we live a better world for the future, how can we tackle all the challenges that we know very well about. And there is even an introduction from a Nobel Prize in climate, and I try to write a conclusion, but it's really about the women who wrote these chapters that I think are very interesting to read because they're all about diversity and inclusion, and they show just by their stories how much you can have a lot more value if you include everybody and not try to create distinctions that are not real.
Amazing, adorable, because I know you have already shared in advance with me, and I could check the story behind the book, and I was so impressed again how you could manage to do all that and to collect, yes, really prominent voices of greatest of the greatest, right? And I discovered many names, not just because of my research, and it's important for me, but I think it's so also important to have role models and to be inspired, right? And it's about, like you said, gender equality. And no, I didn't know about 3%. Now I know. Thank you for learning me. I love, like you and me, I always love being in the process of evolving and training my brain muscle every day. I love food, I love eating, and you probably Italian also, but eaten by my brain, this food I love most of all. I can actually stay away and say, no, I don't need this food. I will always catch up later. But if I know that there are some places I can go or to eat, like, by my brain, something, this is the fantastic case for me. And that's why I would like, after our podcast, I can make some links that for our audience, if they want to purchase the book, and I really advise it. It's an amazing book. And was it your empirical study? You have been talking to these ladies. It was like interview format. You've been talking to them. It was you and your colleague, right? It was two of
Yeah,
you.
this is a friend of myself and a friend of mine, Francesco, who have been in touch. This is that all the women that actually have been in touch one way or the other with our fund, either because they were helping us with the investments or the fundraising, or so they are not people that we just looked out to write a book. Actually, they were more like people that became friends.
Role model.
And they were really actually honored to be in a book, but the reality for us was more we wanted to really showcase all these experiences and maybe inspire others, as we were saying. So we try to not make it only, of course, some of them are really impressive, right? There is one that was at the White House, another one that was, CEO of a bank, etc. But there are also some younger generation, because we wanted to provide examples that people can take as pragmatic, even if you are like still in your younger years. And as a result, we try to make it quite a mix of different voices, and I think it was well appreciated by everybody. And then we went around the world with a few meetings, in New York, in Boston, in London, in Zurich, etc., to show all these women in some, let me say, conversations to show how they were really tackling the challenges and the opportunities they see in the world.
Amazing initiative. I would wish I knew a little bit earlier I could participate, but we should trust the process of the universe. Everything is coming in the right moment, that's for sure. So I would like to find out a little bit more about this amazing company or investment fund you have created, and if you could share a little bit like biography, because I know I could read, and I really advise to our people. I will also put the link to your company, guys, because it's major transformative projects you are driving, right? We are not talking about small one. That's why I would like as many people as possible can get to know, again, like inspirational roles, like maybe also some kind of ideas that people can reach out to you guys, and to make this long-term change together for the better world. So because you already mentioned about board, can you tell a little bit about maybe structure and what kind of major maybe projects you are involved now that you would like to share with people actually? Thank you.
Absolutely. So first of all, look, the fund is a normal Luxembourg fund. Most of the funds in Europe are based in Luxembourg for regulatory and compliance. Nothing special. Our headquarters is here in Zurich, where I'm based now. It's just because it's very central in Europe. There is a lot of innovation, a lot of also money available to invest. So that's why we decided to set up operations here, and the team. Most of it is here, even if we have partners around Europe, some of them also in New York and in Singapore. And what I would say is, first of all, Terra is an early growth fund, as I said before, so it invests in companies to accelerate their growth. The companies we have selected as what we call circular economy, so it's basically food and beverage, fashion and apparel, and packaging and waste. And the reason why we are tackling this is because there has been a lot of investment already, as we know, in energy, like solar and wind, etc., in mobility, electric vehicle, etc. But in the space of the things that we use pretty much every day, right? The food, the packaging that we touch every day, or the fashion, that we use every day. In reality, there's been very little improvement, and these companies particularly the big corporations, are under a lot of pressure to find solution, because there is a regulatory requirement. There is the consumer saying, how can it be that you use this thing once and you throw them away, and they are going to create a lot of issues for us with plastics, microplastics everywhere, with emissions, etc. So these are very big industries. Overall, they represent 5 trillion globally in revenue, so it's a huge potential, and there are still not enough investments, but there are a lot of people who have ideas and capabilities to tackle them. So we have invested in a few of these companies that I can talk about. And then the other thing that we've tried to do is not just be a fund, but have what we call a radical collaboration network. So a big ecosystem of partners with which, we have signed partnership agreements that can help this company grow and achieve even better results. So we start with, agreement with, for instance, the Ellen MacArthur Foundation or Cambridge or Copenhagen Institute of Interaction Design to help companies from an impact perspective, right? So what does it mean to generate sustainability? How can you measure it, etc.? Then we have companies that can help them from a growth perspective. So we have, marketing companies. We have, partnership with Forbes and with Time and with many of the communication companies, let's say, media, but also with talents. So people that can provide talent instead of requiring money like you would usually ask for cash, they can actually accept equity or other ways to be paid so that even a small company can sustain that. And then we have also made some philanthropic agreements so that we can use what is called blended finance to set up some project. And finally, of course, we have a number of investors. Among others, the Italian government is an investor, or the Foundation of the Prince of Monaco is an investor, and a number of others that are really helpful because very often there is overlap between what we do and what they do. So we not only have them as investor, but they can be partner to make changes when we need to. So as an example, Monaco, being on the water, has always been a big leader in ocean investments. And between oceans and all the things that we are investing in, like you have a lot of plastic in the ocean. Oceans are the largest carbon sink, so there is a lot of emissions that go into the ocean. As a result, working together with them makes a lot of sense because they can bring that know-how, we bring the circular economy know-how, and we can find better solution together. So that's an example of our partnership network. So I think the three main characteristics of Unaterra that try to differentiate it from others is not only the focus on the circular economy, the fact that the people in the team, like me, have a very long experience in the industries we invest in, but also we have created this partnership network that goes beyond the limit of a fund, which is only investing money. Yes, money is important, but you need to also have people who are really experienced in the space they invest in. And so we try to provide that expertise, that network to the company we invest in.
Wow, this is very interesting, and I'm happy to get the evidence that your company in your focus really so holistic. Like for me, it's really holistic approach because, like you beautifully already mentioned, yes, it's true. It's like major focus on sustainable energy, yes, or yes, plastic in the ocean, and a lot of maybe about forest and rainforest. But actually, maybe people that somehow sometimes believe, oh, this is so major, and what I'm doing here in my every single day, I'm so little, I don't have that much impact. So I actually, okay, I don't need to be aware. But it's amazing that by your initiative, you can actually show the example to, like you already mentioned, this book to all kind of generation that no, you can start from very simple choices, everyday conscious choices, because yes, we don't maybe realize, but the most choices we make every single day, we interact with clothes every single day, right? Every single day we decide what we should put on us. And I was in shock because I hold the podcast about sustainable fashion because I'm into fashion myself, and that this is my great advocacy now. And when I could start just delving a little bit more in this fast fashion and everything, all the damage we have because of textile production of 16 collections of I don't know, H&M, Zara, whatever, which lands and the dead landfill, right? and water usage and electricity, and for coloring this textile, transportation, and everything, just even 30% never sold, and already just directly. I was in shock. I was like, really? We know that kind of, okay, maybe that and that now, like, this trends fast fashion, but even like extra fast fashion that people on TikTok, because you can go and buy teenager like $3 t-shirt. They never use the same one. There is no commitment to actually one the item like that, right? Before we used so much time, it was slow fashion. It was really the purpose of this clothes, right? And now, and I had no idea that I believed actually the aviation, because everybody's talking about transportation as well. It's damaging for sustainability and pollution. But actually, after oil and gas, it's textile industry number two, which is most damaging. So I was like, I was in shock. Oh, even me, I was not, aware consumer, because now we are in the era of over consuming culture, right? And we, like, you and me, we should really talk, yes, like fashion, packaging. It's actually even packaging for toilet paper. We don't need two or three this plastic, because
Yes.
I have beautifully podcast with Paula Luz. She lives in Amsterdam now. She also a very diverse person. She used to be a filmmaker in Hollywood, 23 years, and she wanted to make impact and sustainability there. And now she came back and started up um, making special sustainable toilet paper, just a
Yep.
little bit smaller size, because she already understands that we don't need like that. She studied the whole history why toilet paper this size, and how much we just throw away. A lot of, but also again packaging. Now the next question, Valeria, I need sustainable packaging, because how many plastic, and she was really into detail and learned me so much. I was like, oh, I never reflected about that. Like, so you mean these special areas you are prioritizing, they're actually so important, because it's every single day we are interacting them. And if we learn our teenagers and younger generation, of course it can start from you, because it's just about small change in your approach, that you are also uh, in this process. Because if you make a little bit more responsible choice, if you ask yourself before you're doing something or choosing something, is it sustainable or not, is it okay, just like,
Yeah.
this is the most important what we can do, right? So I love what, because when I saw you Una Terra, and for me it's one earth, right? It's
Yeah, one
you,
earth, yes. In
yeah,
Italian.
amazing.
Yes.
Yes, biodiversity, and I love biodiversity, because actually the next subject I would like to address, it's about neurodiversity, right? And for me, because I'm neurodivergent myself, and it's quite new, at least vocabulary, which is not that negative, not discriminative and stigma, because people like disabled with diagnosis, because I have OCD. This is very, it's labeled, stamped immediately that we are not good enough. We should not be taken like serious, or like, be part of this inclusive society. But at the end of the day, like you also mentioned some statistics, I can also mention it. Just 30% of the whole population, we're 8 billion now, right, are neurodivergent, and it's just identified. And how many people they are never identified, right? So it's actually a huge part, like, but people like me and others, it's just our brain, they're different. And that, so many times I try to even uh, to compare, like, we all love biodiversity, though we damage it, okay, but we love that it's so diverse, and we kind of know that to have a healthy system in nature, it should be this biodiversity, right? But then also, why then people, why neurodiversity cannot be like biodiversity? Why we cannot embrace us? Because also we are so different, right? So actually, I already came to this subject, because it's kind of so passionate for me now. So I'm always trying to put, like, the word in mouth of my guest. So it's not what I mean. But because you already mentioned about diversity, and actually that it was never such a case for you. All people different. That's why it's actually how uh, they can knowledge share, right, and accomplish more performance in all the way,
Yes.
in special sustainable way, right? Because how we can actually fight global problem which actually are connected with everybody with diversity without including diversity.
No, exactly. Absolutely. For me, like first of all, as I said before, like it's not. I don't see differences because there are differences. It means that there is value, right? See, otherwise, if we were all the same, there would not be any value. But I also know that if people are different, they can bring very different things to the equation. And you can look, for instance, at Richard Branson, right? Who is,
Yeah.
apparently has always said that he couldn't write or read when he was young, and still today. But because of that, he was forced to look at things from a more holistic perspective, and as a result, was very successful anyway. So I think you always have to find what are the things that each of us can bring to this type of solution. And the only thing I can say is that only through collaboration we're going to be able to address all the challenges that we have ahead of us. That's why, at least in Una Terra, we try to create this very large network of partners, because only with that we're going to be able to do it. And in fact, at Davos, we organize a meeting with them. We have one actually coming up in Monaco at the beginning of March, that are always done in order to bring all these people together and ensure that we work together, each of us with our own capabilities and our own passions, but for the same important opportunity which is a long-term well-being of people and planets.
Yeah, amazing. And I know we had a little bit technical problems, so maybe we are already a little bit short of time because on your plan. I don't know. I have the whole evening,
I
but
have time. Don't worry.
okay. Yes, and of course because I'm still girls and a fashionista, and soon I go to Paris Fashion Week, and I'm
Yes.
like already mentioned, I will be present and advocating for sustainable fashion. And I came from New York, and I was hosting a big solo show for one amazing designer. He is really passionate about upcycling and sustainable fashion. Harley de Oliveira. He lives in New York. He's from Brazil. It
Yeah.
was an amazing event, and I think, and I'm happy that more and more young people, young generation, they really care
Yes.
about sustainable fashion. Yes, about these choices. And I have found out that your company also uh, became investor. Yes, in another tomorrow,
No.
right? Can you share a little bit about this? Because maybe next time I'm in New York, I
Yeah,
hire
first of all,
them, and maybe we can
absolutely.
together.
So first of all, I think it's a great company. It is definitely a leader in this space. They were the first big corporation, the first company that really set a very clear agenda on how to be a lot more sustainable as a fashion company. They are based in New York, but they are now present both in the United States and in Europe. They in Europe with the person that was the former CEO of Nina Ricci, so they have a lot of experience. The CEO and founder is Vanessa, also a woman, Vanessa Barboni-Allic. She was before in investment banking at Morgan Stanley, working for very different clients, but then realized that she could do a lot better or a lot more with her life than staying in a bank. That's how she decided to create Another Tomorrow. What I love about Another Tomorrow is not only that they have fantastic materials, entirely organic, they do a lot of really what they call farm to fashion, right? So very organic, there is no plastic, but also they have really a very short value chain, so you don't create too many emissions, etc. But what they've done is to create also on top of the specific fashion brand, a let me say, a suite of solution, a technology stack, as you would say this day, that can be applied to other brands, right? So you could take this solution, which they call, and apply to Chanel or to another brand, and that is actually includes things like being able to do track and tracing of every single piece of clothes, to be able to resell the clothes online. So to your point, maybe the younger generation can buy something cheaper but still same quality that has been certified, etc., etc. So there are a lot of things like that that have been put in their solution, and every time they find something new, they will integrate it in this. So I know that they're talking to some of the large groups like VMH, Caring, Raf. They also had Angelina Jolie becoming their ambassador not too long ago, so they have a more visibility in the market. But I'm quite surprised that how much already people, even here in Switzerland, where they have not sold, they already know them. They can, you can buy them online as well. So I would say it's been a great discovery for us to see how much you can really do, even with only one brand. It's relatively small still, but with this solution that can be applied to others, you can transform an entire industry, even if it's still at the beginning. You can push the others also to do more. So what I like also about Another Tomorrow is that they don't keep their solution for themselves. Everything that they find, they consider it open source, so they will share it with everybody else. There is no, how can I say, competitiveness related to sustainability. Now, sustainability is about collaboration, as I said before. So you cannot keep only for yourself a solution because if it's needed to save the planet, it's very important. So I think it's great. I mean, I can also appreciate how beautiful the fashion is, as you would, but
Italian, yes.
But I think apart from the premium, the very nice quality material, if you go on their website, you can read a lot about their how they really help some of these farms. But yeah, I think it's great the commitment that they have and the very strong and even there actually, if you look at their entire team, I would say 90% are women. It's quite compared to the typical mix that you will see in other places, is quite impressive that they found amazing team members.
Amazing, and I would love to find out more, of course. And I love the idea which you said, because now in our market, what did you say?
I was saying that next time you're in New York, and we will definitely make sure you can meet Vanessa. And they also have a shop now in, I think, is in the West Village. It's very nice.
Maybe in Oculus, in this memorial.
I don't remember where it is but in New York, in I don't remember where, but yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, because actually I'm representing now also a company. They also in this Westgate Shopping Center, which is Memorial 9/11, and they have a very cool concept, upcycling, and the name is this snow milk. And it happened also for them, like they were just boys which bought a lot of vintage clothes and upcycling and start making different painting, hand painting, or a lot of nice stuff. And suddenly they were just in the backyard and everything. And then they even didn't know how it happened, but suddenly they saw on the TV show that somebody was, because it was so nice. And then they found out, oh, Whoopi Goldberg bought them just online. And it just all of a sudden, just for 2 years now, they have a shop in this Oculus, in this memorial, and it's beautiful collection. And like you said, also they also kind of share the idea. It's not like because we know at the end of the day, still it's a lot about profit. It's competitive market economy we live. But if you say like Another Tomorrow, they are happy to share the message, to share even tools, like tools and model frameworks. It's amazing. Then maybe people, I'm sure some of my audience, they're also involved in hashtag. And then I can also put my post, right, that they can all actually maybe reach out to them and have contact and say how they're doing, what they're doing, what helps really, because I love the idea that, like you said, we're united, we're stronger, and everything is through collaboration, right?
Yep.
Beautiful conversation, and I hope one day you we can meet and chat more. Before we wrapping up, I would like to play a little game, because we started from childhood and I always try to also uplift the end,
Yes.
like, not just the subject or very deep conversation. That's why this beautiful lady I bought in Morocco, maybe not very, but it's cultural heritage. Let's put it like that. So this is a pink one, and I love this, is my favorite color. And this is, this is from fairy tale, right? And you know which one?
I'm sorry, I didn't. Oh,
you
yeah,
see
yeah.
this,
Yes.
yeah, you see from which fairy tale this little beauty? Yes, that's correct. And my play at the end always that the person at my show, so he or she can make I'm sorry, this is a little small lamp, just one. Yes, then we can collaborate. Then all the wishes inside can collaborate and have enough space, right? So if it was the wish which now
Yes.
in your beautiful brain muscle, what would that be?
Well, my wish is always the same, to have, the opportunity to leave a world to our next generation that is better than the one we found, which means, to find what is called the long-term well-being of people and planet, but it's really about, environmental, social improvement, and not just considering, the financial result. Of course, those are important as well, but they're just a representation of how much value we've created. So my wish is that, despite all the negative news that we can hear on a daily basis, that collectively we can still progress and improve our work together.
Amazing. That's why I do like this. Improve together. Now the wish is sealed, and start playing with the other wishes. So yes. So I immensely appreciate. I think it was lovely and very knowledgeable for me to chat with you. And of course, I know the persons like you, I could kidnap for at least, I don't know, a couple of days and sit and still ask you until like, Valeria, I'm Italian, I love talking, but it's enough. Yes, so thank you, our beautiful audience, you've been with us. And yes, I so agree with you that my hope as well that all people can acknowledge, recognize that the power of sustainable investment. It's in diversity, it's in collaboration, it's in uniting of our beautiful, unique voices, right? And of course, respect to each other. This is the most. Then the future is shaped actually also by those who challenge the present, right? It's also to be bold. It's also to be open, right? And to care still about biodiversity, about neurodiversity, about cultural, gender diversity. And I still believe that hope it's also the most powerful tool we need to see in everything what we are doing. So thanks so much for our beautiful conversation. I wish you much luck with your all great projects, and I'm happy, and I will be even more happy to get evidence for the amazing impact you are doing every single day, and hope one day we can maybe collaborate together at one project. So, or another.
Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.